So you want to come here to Bali, Indonesia and drink coconuts and bintang, but your wallet looks like this? Then this is the video for you. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my most requested videos, which is how to find cheap accommodation here in Bali, Indonesia. Let's go! So one of the first things I always tell someone who's planning on coming here long term to Bali, Indonesia is to try it out first, because a lot of the time you will see that a lot of content here from Bali specifically is very glorified in a way. Bali is one of those places where it's easy to make everything look beautiful, because it is beautiful. Bali is one of those rare places, but it does have its own downsides as well, so do be aware of that. And one of the first things I would say to just try it out for a week, try it out for 2 weeks, just to see how it goes. And one of the first ways I would recommend to look for a place like that is you can maybe look for a hostel, because a lot of the time you can find cheap hostels on places like Agoda or Traveloka. Those Traveloka is more of a local option, and you can also look for some other even more local options, but then you might not even have the English option, but you can find some super cheap deals. And you're also going to have to look outside of the main tourist areas. So whenever you are looking for a place that you want to settle down in long term in Bali, because it's very different if you're just going to come here for a week, then most likely you're not going to find the best deals, but you're also probably not going to pay like an insane amount depending on where the location is and of course what kind of property you're looking for. But most of the time the best deals you're going to find is when you find monthly deals and then extend that off to multiple months, half a year to a year. Because one thing that is the truth here in Indonesia is that cash is king. If you are looking for a property and there's a lot of people who also wants that property, if you're able to pay half a year to a year upfront, and this is going to be more for those of you who are on a business visa, if you're here on a KITAS or B211A visa, then that is going to be one of the best ways to just find a place that you can really explore this beautiful place called Bali, Indonesia. So if you are traveling here and you are looking for a long-term place that is beautiful, fantastic, awesome, then one of your best chances to find that place is going to be in the off season. So basically the rainy season is the off season, which makes sense. A lot of people don't want to be here because a lot of people don't want to be here when it's super rainy and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it makes sense. And this is kind of at the end of the dry season, so we have days like this, beautiful blue days, and that's what people come here for. They come here for beautiful Instagram pictures and beautiful sunsets, which you will find a lot during this time. And if you are willing to stay here for a longer amount of time, then that means that you should probably look for a property in the off season, because during the off season the prices will be down significantly. And if you are here during the off season when the price is low, you have a much higher chance, because the landowners are looking at their bank statements. They're looking at, oh my god, we need to fill this place, otherwise I'm not gonna have enough money to upkeep it. And in that way you are in a much better position to negotiate. And one thing to keep in mind, you also don't want to negotiate so much that you screw people over. So but you are the most likely to find a better deal, which is more likely to not be overpriced during those times. But if you are a go hard adventure kind of guy or girl, then look no further than your closest buddies or friends or invisible buddies, as I have no one here. I'm sad and alone. And just because of that, if you have some friends or family or someone that you can travel with here, then that is going to be your biggest and best bet to find a beautiful and amazing place. Because if you are willing to share a place with someone, then most likely you're going to be finding a much better place. You can find a great place which has probably some shared kitchen or shared bathroom, and if you're willing to do that, then the cost per person is going to be significantly less. And also, if you are willing to have multiple people together, then most likely you can even find a big house and it's going to be much higher quality than if you would just look alone. So there's a lot of forums out there, there's a lot of WhatsApp groups where you can find other people looking for that kind of stuff. So if you don't have anyone you know yet, then Bali is such an amazing place. And one thing I do recommend though is if you're going to be living together with someone and you're going to be signing a deal for like 6 months to a year, make sure you know them first. Like, yeah, otherwise don't come complaining in the comment section afterwards, because yeah, I've heard a few stories, so best of luck. And one point I really want to stress is location, 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 which means when you are looking for a place to stay that you want to be affordable and you also want it to be good quality, then it matters a lot where that location is. Because if you are only looking in Canggu, then most likely you are going to be paying a much higher price for the exact same property, maybe 2, 3, 4 or even 5 times more the price of the same property that would be in Ubud or a different area. So keep that in mind when you are looking for a accommodation, because if you are trying to save the most amount of money because you want to use your money on beautiful activities, things to do, then you don't want to put all your money in accommodation. And just because I chose to live about 15 minutes outside of Ubud, I get to be surrounded by environments just like this. Look at this, incredible rice fields, amazing place to watch sunsets, by the way. And just look at that. And these kind of places you're gonna find everywhere as soon as you get outside of the city centers and outside of busy touristy places. You're gonna have these incredible experiences where you can go on walks and you don't need to be honked at. I know, it's mind-blowing. I used to live in Barawa, which is right next to Canggu, and I'm so happy that I got out of there. Honestly, looking back, I was happy I was there at the time because it was much less people then, but right now you can just take a Gojek to go there or just get a bike and drive there. But if you enjoy some peace and quiet, then Ubud or Gianyar or different places outside of the main tourist areas that are not Canggu and Uluwatu, and I guess Ubud as well, as long as you're staying outside. So yeah, there's that. And if you have local friends in Bali, one of the main things I would say that would help you is to ask one of those friends to reach out to some of the properties for you. Because whenever there's a local person, someone who speaks the language, then they are more likely to get the local price instead of the tourist price. And believe me, those prices can differ a lot. And if you are one of those people that does not like to drive a motorbike around to find some of the properties, then another solution is to look on Airbnb or one of the sites and then maybe give the property directly a call or find out where they are and maybe take a Gojek or a taxi there. And in that regard, you are much more likely to find better rates than the one that they have on Airbnb, because they charge different prices. And sometimes I've heard that whenever you are looking at a property directly, you can slice off at least 30% of what Airbnb is charging. So that way you can save a significant amount. So another great option is homestays. So you're basically staying with a local Balinese family, and this sometimes can be a hit or a miss. And I'm not talking about the price there, I'm talking more about, yeah, let me just tell you that there will probably be dogs, chickens, roosters, like all that kind of stuff. So do keep that in mind if you're very sensitive to that kind of stuff. But other than that, in my experience, it's been one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had here, and it's the way I used to live in Barawa. And I used to live there very cheap, super central, and I got taken out on beautiful local experiences, and it was one of the best introductions I could have had to Indonesia at the time. And even if it has become much more difficult recently to look at social media, I still would recommend to check it out. One of the most important things I would say though is if you find something that looks good on social media, make sure that you check it out and you never pay money without checking it out, because most likely it's a scam, and second point, it will most likely not look the same as it does on the picture, so keep that in mind. And if you are on the extroverted side, you can do something called walk-in bookings, which means that you're basically just walking around the neighborhood and asking the places that looks like it might have a place. I know it's kind of out there, but I've done it before and sometimes it works. It might not be that place that can help you, but it might be someone in that place that knows someone else, and that's where you get some of these valuable connections. And that's what I found with myself, that once I'm within and I have those connections, then I will be kept up to date with when something comes alive. So that's why WhatsApp is super important here in Indonesia. If one of them wants your WhatsApp and they say they might help you with that, then do give your WhatsApp. And one of my personal favorites that can really help you out when you are in a pinch is Couchsurfing. Yes, Couchsurfing is not free anymore, but the money that you save when you are in those situations where you really need a place to stay and you can help those people out, then Couchsurfing is, in my experience, has been beautiful and amazing. And unfortunately, it's not as active as it once was. I have had a lot of success with it, at least here in Indonesia. So another option that might help you out as well is to do house sitting. So basically you are watching someone's house while they are either on vacation or traveling somewhere, and they have most of the time have pets as well. So if you are a dog or a cat lover, then this might be a good option for you as well. The thing with this is you need to have some sort of reference or some trust built up already with that person. And my last tip for today's list is student housing. These are one of the housings that you will normally find close to universities, but do keep in mind that some of them require you to actually be a student, which is why the name is student housing. And because of that, then I don't know if it's the right thing to do in case there is not enough student housing, but I've been traveling a lot around Java and different places here in Indonesia where there has been a lot of people who are not students who are still staying in these student housings. So that is also an option if other options are running out. So that has been my definitive list of ways to find cheap, long-term accommodation here in Bali, Indonesia. These tips will work in other places around the world as well, but these are custom made. Yes, sounds fancy. Custom made for Bali, Indonesia, and the ones I've tested myself or have had other close friends test these out, so I can confirm these are the ones that have had success before. I hope these tips has been helpful for you guys, and let me know down below if you have any other ways you have found accommodation yourself, and help that community out. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.